Voters in Kansas decisively defeated a ballot measure that would have blocked abortion protections in the state's constitution. The Washington Post reports this. Nearly 60% of voters ultimately rejected the amendment, with more than 900,000 turning out to the polls. That is nearly twice as many who turned out in the 2018 primary election. 4 more states are going to have their turn next: California, Kentucky, Montana, Vermont. They have similar measures on their November primary ballots as well. And abortion rights activists saying Kansas should be viewed as a bellwether. Joining me now is Rachel Sweet, the campaign manager for Kansans for Constitutional Freedom. Rachel, thanks for joining us on this. We appreciate it. So the numbers really with this election, they are astounding, to say the least, right? You got 900,000 or so folks that turned out to vote overall. According to the Washington Post, about 1 in 5 Republican primary voters turned out in favor of abortion rights. How did you mobilize the votes that you needed for this turnout?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. We are so pleased that the voters of Kansas have spoken so resoundingly in support of legal abortion, in support of keeping government out of our personal private medical decisions. And the way that we were able to achieve this victory was really by talking to voters across the political spectrum. I think there's still a lot left to learn about who the Vote No coalition ended up being on election night. But what we saw is that it is possible to win victories for reproductive rights, for personal autonomy in states that are more conservative like Kansas. We think that only about 30.5% of the electorate that showed up on August 2nd were registered Democrats. And we know that that is because our coalition and our partners across the state were able to effectively communicate with and mobilize voters who are more conservative or moderate, as well as unaffiliated voters who really can be, across the political spectrum, but are very unlikely to show up for primary elections. So I'm very proud of the work that our team has done to be able to get so many folks to the polls and make their voices heard on this issue.
So I think as the rest of America kind of watched this all play out, they were shocked considering the fact that Kansas is a fairly conservative state overall. But when you look at numbers of folks in this country nationally, right, who support abortion rights, it's not necessarily shocking considering the fact that 70% or so of Americans actually support abortion rights for women. But when you look back at the 2020 election, right, Trump won Kansas over now President Biden by 15 percentage points. But the numbers actually flip when you look at who voted no on this abortion amendment. And the New York Times now reporting this, and I want to read it for you. Essentially, Republicans are facing backlash when it comes to the overturn of Roe and how they campaign on it, saying this. In Pennsylvania, Doug Mastriano, the Republicans' ardently anti-abortion candidate for governor, has lately taken to saying the people of Pennsylvania will decide what abortion looks like in the state, not the governor. In Minnesota, Scott Jensen, a family physician who said in March that he would try to ban abortions as governor, said in a video released before the Kansas vote that he does support some exceptions. If I've been unclear previously, I want to be clear now. How do you harness this kind of backlash now the Republicans are feeling with the overturn of Roe?
That's a great question. So we know for most voters, this is not a partisan political issue. The right to access safe and legal abortion is primarily a personal issue. It is a medical issue, and for some folks, it is a moral or religious issue. So in terms of supporting and electing candidates who support access to legal abortion, yes, that is certainly an important next step. But for states like the ones that surround Kansas, states like Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, places where abortion has already been banned and is completely inaccessible to people who live in those states, simply saying that we need to elect more politicians who support abortion rights is an insufficient response.
Yeah.
As you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, there are states that are going to have abortion rights ballot measures, whether those are proactive measures like in Michigan to make sure that abortion rights are protected in the Constitution, or defensive measures like in Kentucky, which is very similar to the measure that we defeated in Kansas on Tuesday. It is really important that we make sure that there is a 50-state strategy and a long-term plan for rebuilding access in states where it is lost. In Kansas, we were able to hold the line. In Kansas, abortion remains legal with all of its restrictions. Kansas is still not a place where it is particularly easy to get an abortion,
right,
but it is a place where abortion is legal. And so we need to figure out not just how do we continue to hold the line, but how do we rebuild in states where access doesn't exist at the moment.
Rachel Sweet, we thank you. Good to talk to you. you.